Just learning. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Daily AI Show live. It is December 9th, 2025. We appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for everybody jumping into the comments. And today, no chins and foreheads. So we're still working on that part of it. That's an inside joke from yesterday's show. Watch all our shows. That way you know all the inside jokes. And you can find us daily here, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern live, but of course there's also other ways to join in the fun. We'd love to have you here live, but we get it that not everybody's available. So one quick way to do that obviously is to watch us on the replay, but if you want to be more part of the conversation, then we'll always invite you to come out and join our community. That's the dailyAIshowcommunity.com. That will take you to a Slack invite and away you go. You're inside the community. We do share some unique assets and shareables, I guess, if you want, takeaways in that community that we do not share live on this show. We'll talk about them, but we'll tell you that you can go into the community to get them. So there you go. There's one extra reason why you should be part of the Daily AI Show community. Now, today we have Beth, Andy, Ann, and I'm Brian. So welcome, everybody. Glad y'all are here. Nice to see you, Ann. Always appreciate you jumping in on Tuesdays when you can. And what I'd like to do is get into hopefully some of the news first. And then, Beth, I know you have an interesting journalism segment that we want to talk about as well. That's really, really interesting. So welcome, Delma, in the comments. I see some folks coming in. And yeah, let me throw it over to you, Beth, because I know we yesterday with mics and all sorts of fun things or whatever. But let me start with you, Beth. What is maybe one of the news stories that you wanted to bring up for today?
So Google is leaking some things to be aware of, and part of that makes me wonder because supposedly OpenAI is going to drop their new point number, their 10th place number rev today or sometime this week. Google has rumored that Nano Banana Flash is coming out, and that may happen today or tomorrow as well. And also there's some buzz about Google Glasses, which haven't existed since I don't know the date, but many people were practically assaulted, if not actually assaulted, for wearing them because it was way too soon. So they have some glasses that are coming out in 2026. And since Andy was sharing his holiday branded glasses, this sounds interesting. It is what Andy was saying was not happening in the holiday glasses, right? It's going to be a visual. You can talk to it. It's a full interaction with Gemini and your Android phone, I have to assume, and we'll get an iOS app in 2027, perhaps, or very late.
Well, I think it'll be sooner than that because Google and Apple just announced that they're coordinating the ease of transition of use between Android and iPhone. So my guess is that the glasses will automatically be, enabled on iOS as well. But
that would be amazing.
You're right. The key feature here is that you'll be able to speak to Gemini. And with the glasses on, it'll be privately speaking to you through the stems. And you can buy the Google glasses next year, past this next month, maybe a few months from now. You'll be able to buy them in two different models, one with the in-glass display, or without that, just the straight audio glasses that would be very similar then to the Meta Ray-Ban and Meta Oakley type glasses.
And I just want to add to that. We've seen demos of this. I mean, I'm assuming it's what we're going to see or some version of it. We've seen live demos of this on stage at the last 2 years Google events. So 2 years ago, they showed, I believe it was 2 ago, couldn't have been the last one. They showed where the person had it on. It was a first person point of view. They were walking around like the Google office, but they were saying things that could actually be valuable. Where did I leave my glasses? Or where did I leave that book? Or where are my keys? And so there's this idea of this sort of built-in context or memory as part of this, where it's sort of remembering things around the house, and it was being a helpful aid in that way. Of course, we can see immediately how somebody opting into this sort of memory could be immensely helpful to people who have memory issues, right? I mean, this is something that I think all of us would see value in, but there's actually a smaller niche set of the community of the world where I could see this being really, really helpful as an actual aid to people who have a hard time remembering whatever is going on in their life. So that was the first thing. The other thing I remember them showing was a live demonstration of looking at a bookshelf, if I'm not mistaken. They sort of had a mocked up bookshelf, and that was from this year. And Google obviously had no issue, Gemini had no issue with reading books, bringing back information about it, giving summaries of books. So you could imagine being in a library and trying to make an educated or informed decision about what the next book you should read is. And simply by looking at the bounds of the book and the you could be going like, hey, Gemini, whisper back to me, or whisper is like, Alexa will whisper back to you, if you ask it to, and just be like, quietly tell me, which of these 3 books would be the next one that I should read in this series. And it's like, well, look, has a summary. Here's the summary to it or whatever. So I'm really excited about this, more so than I am the idea of recording the world or, those type of things. I'm excited about it because of the, knowledge of the physical world being brought in a way that we really haven't had. We can certainly already hold up our phones and use our cameras to do these kind of things, and heads up displays. And again, though, you look at the ecosystem of Google Maps, YouTube, all this stuff that they've already shown these demonstrations of. I can't tell you how many times I've popped open the hood on one of the cars, and every year that goes by, if I re-up and get a newer car, it just looks more and more like a computer. And so there was a day back in the 90s where I didn't mind opening up a car hood, and didn't mind getting my hands dirty because I could basically figure out where the spark plugs were and whether one of them was misfiring. And of course, that's not something you would typically do anymore, because there's the likelihood of making a mistake or just literally not being able to find it in that engine bay is going to be increased. So
right.
Having the heads up and stuff is really, really exciting to me.
Because one of the Nano Banana viral techniques right now is to show to do an image of someone looking at something in reality and then being able to see the schematic of what it was slightly in front. And that makes a ton of sense for that to happen. This also makes me wonder, and this is just speculation, I have no inside knowledge, of course, but it makes me wonder if this is also part of Meta's purchase of Limitless, right? Because if Google actually is already kind of moving forward and talking about, hey, you wear these glasses, you have we'll remember where you put your keys and do all those things. Again, maybe Meta bought that so no one else did. Right.
It's just one last point really quick, because you mentioned 2 stories there, right? You mentioned about Nano Banana Flash. That you're right? Like, why is that valuable? Why do you need a Flash model? Well, if you're able to produce schematics or infographics or things like that at a very cheap price, a la the Flash, and the inference is incredibly low. Well, this, breaks free your marketing departments and stuff, who literally do need to see 20 or 30 variations of something, but they're trying to do it at a cost that makes sense to them. And there's some limits to that in the past. And Flash is, potentially going to make that a thing. It also means that there's really no reason anymore from a cost perspective, if you've got glasses on like this, and it does create an image on the fly that's helpful to you, however you might see that is done at such a cost that it's no longer prohibitive to do that, both by what I pay as the consumer for the right to use these glasses. Maybe there's a separate subscription. We don't know. Maybe it's just pure Gemini. I don't know either. But regardless, it's going to make it cheaper for me and make it easier to have a better experience, where if it's quite literally a throwaway image, something that's only going to be valuable to me for the next 10 seconds, because it's just explaining something to me about the real world. And it's like, well, here, Brian, here's how this works. And you're like, got it. And that's it. That's all I need it for. It's never going to go on social. That's it. It's a throwaway image at that point. But if the inference and cost gets down to such a level with Flash, then you're really looking at a place where that no longer matters. And that really does open up quite a lot of opportunities for how to use images in the future. Not only your heads up, but just in general. I mean, Flash may not have anything to do with the glasses, but anyway, right. So both just two different things on those two different news stories I think are really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, on to I don't know, Anne, it looks like you have something. Go next.
Well, I don't have a new news item, but I because this one is so important, but I think I want to comment on how the glasses thing just so clearly demonstrates the difference between if you're in the bubble and you're out of the bubble. The cost of that technology is so high, not in, eventually in financial, but in giving up our security and our privacy. That is a tremendous cost. We are saying yes to a surveillance state, in my opinion. Like, maybe that's a little extreme, but we are saying we're going to set everything up so that should our government decide that, or anyone decide that they want to track our comings and goings even more than they already do, boom, done. Like, we're serving it up to them on a silver platter. I would anticipate that there will be like fights on the street, when somebody realizes that somebody else is wearing the glasses and recording them. The people who hate it so much that I just think it's a good example of how we inside the bubble have to like channel our inner critics, because it's such a big deal to give that content away to anybody other than our own little brains, where it stays mostly inside. I think it's kind of scary. I'm with you, Brian, absolutely, on like the use case of not just, I lost my keys again, but my mom had early onset Alzheimer's disease. And so all of the opportunities to assist a family member going through anything like that is like chef's kiss. I can't even tell you the impact that would have had on our lives as a family, but also the caregivers. You could see this in the long-term care application, working really fabulously. But the capture of like women and children on those with those glasses, I think you always have to think about like the most vulnerable people who could be harmed by it. And I would imagine that having more content with kids in it is just, I don't know.
Well, we've already seen that, this is beyond news. So I'll just say this really quick so we can get back to like, Andy, your news stories and stuff like that, because it's a bigger topic and it's maybe one we should circle back to another day. But what I was going to say to it is we saw almost immediately, I don't remember what glasses, maybe it was the Meta glasses. Remember there was the research, the kids that, I don't say kids, they were like college students, and they were on the train and they were able to use the information of a girl or somebody sitting across. Now they did that literally to show and expose it essentially and say, hey, we were able to come up with identifiable information that made it seem like I knew that person personally, because I was able to get enough stuff that it would seem odd if I got up to Andy on a train and didn't know him. And I said, hey, Andy, right? And Andy's like, yeah. He's like, I think we were at a conference last year together. Weren't you at the thing? And what I'm doing is real-time scraping Andy's socials or whatever the case may be and coming back with snippets of information. So we already saw this within days. There were a couple of college students that were like, guess what? This is what this means. So there is a bigger conversation about it, obviously, and the vulnerability of it. I will just tell you this is my standpoint on it. I tell my daughter this all the time. Go out in the world. You're 15. Go out in the world and act like you're being recorded all the time, because you have to act like a celebrity now, meaning that you have to watch what you're saying and thinking. You have to act as if you're a celebrity that people know, because what you're saying and what you're thinking are easier to record than ever. With our phones, it doesn't matter. People are so quick with it. They're not making it known that they're necessarily recording, and the kids and stuff like that, and they're trying to get a rise out of you. And honestly, it's a societal shift that we're going to have to come to terms with. I'm not sitting on right or wrong or what it is. I just think it's inevitable. It's inevitable. So there's things that we talk about in AI that we should talk about as, do we want this or do we not want this? And that's fine. But this is happening regardless. It's happening regardless. It will be in your world. You could be upset about it. You could be mad about it, but it's happening. People will be around you with these devices, whether you know they are or not. And so you need to adjust how you act in society based on that. If you want to, but you should be aware that they're there.
It's also a misunderstanding of how much your phone is already revealing about you if you carry it with you. Just by connecting to towers, by what you have. Do you have a Meta product on your phone? Wow, because they suck all the data. We don't know how we're going to use it yet, but we totally want it. If you've made it available to us, we are absolutely going to get everything that you want. So I welcome these conversations. I think they're really important.
100%. Andy, on to you.
Okay. Yesterday, I mentioned this space that we're tracking, which is agentic browsers, and the question about whether indirect prompt injection, which can happen on anything that you look at on a browser, and cause those browser agents to take unwanted actions, whether that's a sufficient risk to kind of worry about at this point, and that the people who are developing these, principally, you've got Perplexity with their Comet browser, you've got ChatGPT with their Atlas agent browser, and then you've got Chrome. So I have a little bit of an update here on this. Yesterday I mentioned that Perplexity was launching a technology called Browse Safe that blocks 91% in their testing of those indirect prompt injection attacks. And then I came across a warning that came out from this major entity called Gartner, which looks at enterprise software. And they warned that you should not use agentic browsers in the enterprise context. They're not ready for prime time yet. Importantly, because the main functionality of them is that you have an AI sidebar, like you kind of see now on Gemini on the right-hand side of Chrome. You have an AI sidebar, and you can use that to summarize whatever the browser is looking at. And in order to do that, those agentic browsers send that up to the cloud. So they're sending what you're looking at up to the cloud. It came from the cloud. But if you're in the enterprise, you might be looking at pages that are generated from internal firewall documents, and then that gets sent out by the browser to the cloud. So Gartner is saying, don't use these. You gotta wait, stop. Or take really serious cybersecurity measures to ensure that corporate employees don't use agentic browsers inside the firewall and then accidentally leak all this information out to the external. Then Google has just announced how it will secure its Chrome browser against these possible attacks against the agentic capabilities of the browser. So they built a system that has a Gemini-powered alignment critic that looks at what you're looking at in a separate space, not in the browsers. It's got its own little firewall, and it's sitting over here watching what's happening there. And anything sensitive, banking, passwords, purchases, etc., those will require explicit user approval, for any kind of AI action on that. And it will also block agents from touching untrusted elements like ads or scripts. So Chrome, we sort of anticipated that Google would have a very comprehensive solution to this problem when they provided agentic capabilities to Gemini within Chrome. And so their announcement that they're doing that, it's this user alignment critic. It's a little Gemini version that's looking over your shoulder as you're using the Chrome browser to determine if you're kind of treading too far and into areas that you might have some risk with.
As a quick weave, because you mentioned ads on there, I'll bring up a quick news story that I forgot I read. It is interesting, and that's OpenAI, who had to turn off some promotional app messages in ChatGPT after users complained that was showing them ads. And based on what I saw, that's exactly what that would have looked like. There was some stuff with Peloton and Target with, and I'm thinking Target doesn't need any more negative press right now. Target's got their hands full at the moment. So like, I don't know whether Target was involved or not involved, or whether OpenAI is telling us the same story. But the quote from I think it was the chief research officer, Mark Chen, said, anything that feels like an ad needs to be handled with care, and we fell short. Yeah, I think that's an understatement, to say the least. Man, do they need to be careful. We just talked about OpenAI yesterday and whatever this 5.2 might be today, tomorrow, or the next day, and how they need to be careful with what they're releasing and shit missing the whole thing. And I think, do you really need these problems right now? Do you really need that kind of negative spotlight that OpenAI is all of a sudden, hey, we're trying to catch up to Gemini and Red Code and blah, blah, blah. And also, by the way, we might also be just trying to show you ads without telling you they're ads, or at least that's the perception, even if it's wrong. Like, holy moly, man, why would you be messing with this right now? I do not understand that.
So it makes me think that they are doing this all the time, right? They're just dropping new experiments, new
sure. Facebook
things.
does that.
And this one was just way more obvious. And so people reacted to it. But I do think that OpenAI is running consumer experiences, user experiences all the time. And some of them are obvious, right? Like these are two answers. Which one do you like best? Those are very
right.
Like above board. We know that that's happening.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Facebook has been doing this for a decade or more, where it's, your Facebook experience at any given time, it's an absurd number. At any given time, there's like, I don't even want to put a number on it, thousands of live experiments going on. I would imagine with AI, it's gone up considerably. It used to be more human driven, but they are always testing with niche parts of audiences all the time on Facebook. And so you do have a unique experience a lot of times if that's how you interact with it. So you're probably right, Beth. This has probably been going on for a while, and this one just really caught the irk of some people, and I think rightfully so, that it got called out. So also, yeah. Like I said, I don't quite get it. All right, moving on to, that's the really one big one, AI news. Let me just check really quick. That was one of them. And geez, I thought there was another one that I had. Oh, this, I don't even have more to say about this. OpenAI report finds AI adoption saves workers only 40 to 60 minutes daily across industries. That's from CNET.com. Only? We created a system that's only saves us 40 to 60 minutes a day. Are you nuts? That's 5 hours a week. That's 20 hours a month. What are you talking about? It only saves us. We're upset about that. Holy God. How did we get so blah with what AI can do? The reality that it says only before 40 to 60 minutes a day. Take any company, Andy, any company you worked with. If somebody came to you 20 years ago and said, Andy, we found a verified way to save every single one of the employees at company X, not literally, but you know what I mean, the company you work for, 40 to 60 minutes a day. I mean, wouldn't you
add some math to that, which is that this is compounding. So if I have an extra 60 minutes, think what I can do with AI in 60 minutes.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So
yeah, I don't get it.
Can I say something about this really quickly? The general public's and like business leaders' inability to math on this is mind-boggling to me. To your point, Andy, it's not just, oh, they saved 40 to 60 minutes, so they're just like have their feet up on the desk and they're smoking cigarettes. Like, it's now that time needs to be allocated. It's a decision about who owns that time. Most of the time it's going to be the company, but it also in different cultures could mean work less. But like, I just saw this massive creator on LinkedIn with like a bajillion comments, most likely from his engagement pod, about how he told his team, if you don't use AI for 92% of the work, you're being left behind. And I was like, so did you tell them that they're losing their jobs, or did you tell them that they now do business development in 92%? And, like the compounding aspect of this, it's just, it doesn't, the math isn't mathing for people. And I think we have this bigger problem on our hands, which is we are horrible about projecting what we might want to do with time. We're horrible with what to do with time right now. And we're way, way worse about what we might do with time in the future on an individual basis as well as societally. So, man, I don't know. Maybe this boils down to AI literacy, but I'm surprised by the number of business leaders going out on a limb saying, the whole use AI or else. It's like, well, where is everybody else's new position descriptions, their new career path? Where's your career counselor? Or are you just firing everybody?
By the way, that saving 1 hour came out of OpenAI's review of enterprise users of ChatGPT, and Anthropic had done a similar kind of study, but they did analysis of millions of transactions with Anthropic Claude, and then determined with probably more scientific validity that task completion was being done with an 80% reduction of the time required. So where AI was being used in a dialogue with Claude, that the actual completion of tasks was happening 80%, less time than before. That suggests a bigger impact than just 1 hour a day. Yeah. Although you have to add in all the other sort of transition things, and there's a little other thing that just is related to this in my mind, which is Anthropic is launching Claude Code in Slack. Now, Claude Code is a very powerful tool, because when you have Claude Code running in your desktop, then it can access all your files, it can access all the resources that you have access to within the enterprise, etc. And now if you put it in the main vehicle for communication, and you can invoke a Claude Code action, it's like having that live teammate in your environment that you can give a task to. You delegate that task to it, and Claude Code will then go out and bring it back into Slack. So now you don't even have to stop and waste the time of, okay, now I'm going to launch whatever, anti-gravity, or I'm going to go do lovable vibe coding and try to create something. I just say in Slack, hey, Claude Code, do this. And it can marshal together workflow automations. It can create, file, access routines. And, my mind is boggled by how much Claude Code can do.
But also pay a little bit of attention about what Claude Code can do, because this makes me think about your previous news story, where if you thought it was like uncomfortable that your browser can watch everything that you're doing and you need a buddy to tell you that you're like exposing something, Claude Code is running on your computer. Like, it's not just what your browser is seeing. So take a little bit of time, figure out what you want Claude Code to be able to see. There is
it depends on what you've got on your computer that shouldn't be seen. In the company context, though, I think it's fine, because now we're not sending stuff to Anthropic in the cloud, right? We're running Claude Code locally. And as a result of that, I think it's a safer, more secure kind of configuration than an agentic browser that's integrated with cloud services.
Yeah, but I'm an old school techie, right? It isn't that it's seeing private information for you, it's that it's seeing your computer's guts. So there's a hilarious conversation happening on X that may or may not be an actual screenshot, right? Because we can fake these, but it is, oh crap, Claude Code deleted my home directory, like deleted, like I found the bug and I fixed it.
Yeah. Paperclip options.
Just be super clear that your computer's guts are visible to Claude Code as well. If you don't like make them not, or at least have an environment in which like this is the place where the explosion can happen.
Well, that's what I was just about to ask you, Beth. And I don't know this stuff that well, but I wish Jyunmi was here too. But couldn't you, back to the enterprise suggestion, couldn't you have a dedicated internal server that's not necessarily your computer? It's literally a server that you have access to that's running Claude code in a controlled environment. And that server Claude code is what everybody uses to push into Slack. Wouldn't that control
Yes.
that
And
process?
that is often what is suggested, is that you create the environment in which anything can happen in there, and you don't give it access to everything else, to your total.
By the way, I think
but it's super easy to do now. So
this announcement about Claude Code in Slack is focused first, and its deployment will first be delivered to development teams inside enterprise using Slack. So it's really focused on team collaboration and the ability to collaboratively work with Claude Code when you're doing development projects inside the enterprise. But remember that development projects are no longer confined to the engineering team, right? It's not only developers who are doing development, it's starting to spread out to the product management teams and beyond that, all the way to business users being able to build small apps or workflow automations using Claude Code.
This is why IT departments don't get any sleep anymore. Poor bastards. Like, they just, too many people got too many fingers in the cookie jars. And they're like, look what I built. And they're like, oh God, no, please don't.
Well, also, poor honeys, they've been the default therapists for a lot of organizations for ages, because people are at their worst when they're having some kind of a computer machine meltdown.
Right, exactly.
And now things are not only like more acute because we're getting into like people's values, but they're also like precedent setting. So these poor IT people who are totally, like, I'm guessing the ones who I know anyway, have not had training as like organizational therapists. And so I do see a new career path evolving for therapists and coaches and consultants who are able to deal inside enterprises with the big feelings that people are having about AI. Because who walking around right now, like in this, because it's going to get into the topic today, who walking around right now has the skill set to deal with existential meltdowns in the workplace around their computer machines, right? Yeah. It's going to seem like it's just that. Do you, Beth? You, Beth. This is why you are going to be able to name your prize. You are the person. You are the person. That's it. It's only Beth Lyons in the whole world, as far as I know.
Just Beth. I mean, congrats, Beth. That sounds like you've got work for years.
You do. I'm telling you, especially anyone with a heart, they're going to see their people.
Oh, that's not. Sorry, she's out.
Beth is all heart. Are you kidding?
Yeah. What I was going to say. Oh, I was going to tell you, and you said that, you remind me of, I love my dad to death, but every once in a while, my dad will call me and ask me for help, as parents and children do sometimes. And he'll say, do this. And I have, my brother has no patience. I have patience for days when it comes to my dad and helping him and stuff like that. But my dad's famous line is going dead silent on the phone and going, hold on, I'm trying something. And then I go, what are you doing? Stop what you're doing right now. Then I become the IT guy and I'm like, touch nothing. Turn on FaceTime. And show me what you're doing right now. Point your phone at the computer. Don't you dare touch anything. We're so close, And then there's this whole interaction of a dad and a son going back and forth as my dad goes, hold on, I'm trying something. And I feel like that is the comic that is every IT poor professional out there. Is they go, hold on, somebody's going back and forth and going, how do I fix this? And IT's there and they're getting close. And then this person goes, don't worry about it. I don't need you anymore. I use Claude Code. And the IT person's like, what did you do with Claude Code? Like, what are you coding? And the person's like, AI says we're fine. Don't even sweat. I'm so sorry I even bothered you. I got this.
Sorry I bothered you. Well, yeah, because they're so embarrassed by the time they have to bring in IT, especially if they've been a high maintenance person. Not that I know what that's like. So,
but also stop asking me. The answer is always going to be no, right? There are IT people who have relationships with, like, don't tell me what your kid came home with. No. We are an enterprise. That is not equivalent. And this is the other side of that. is like, I just did it on my own because I knew you weren't going to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So I just did it quietly. That's the whole shadow AI problem of it as well.
Yeah.
Is like, I'll just take care of this for myself because I don't want to deal with the repercussions or otherwise to do it. Okay, I want to move on if that's fine because we're about on time to move on. We do have a whole other segment to do, but before we do that, and real quick, just give us a quick update on Festivus because not only do we have two of our own speaking at your event, but how about just give us the dates real quick? I know it's coming up at the end of December. And anything else you want to share on Festivus here because it's a great event.
So it is a wonderfully eclectic event yet again this year. It's aifestivus.com, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific on December 26th and 27th. We have everything from some extreme experts in AI and change management to a table reading of Sydney, a musical, to Beth and Jyunmi talking about how we actually live in science fiction, to we've got the rampaging and manifesting, which rampaging is a manifesting exercise that you do like really fat, I don't know, like a rampage. And on and on and on. We've got feats of strength this year. So we'll have people doing 15-minute demos, and we have do have an airing of grievances. We have an AI policy session.
I was waiting for that one. I wanted to make sure that was available.
Yeah, the airing of grievances will be a big hit. It's some fantastic people. So anyway, go register at the bottom for those of us who are like in our sphere. At the bottom of our website, the AI Festivus website, is a media kit. You can pull really cute images and pick and swipe copy to post about AI Festivus to get your friends in. It's a free event, by the way. And if you want to support the event, what you do is you buy the replay bundle, which is super amazing. It's only $27. Like, we're not putting the replays out there. This is how the event happens. This is how we pay our contractors, the few that we have. So join us. It's going to be amazing. You make new friends.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun last year. I'm glad you guys are doing it again. There's also for you and Kyle and others that do it, it's also quite a bit of work. So
it's hella work. Yeah, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Last year we did it, planned it in 2 weeks. This year we gave ourselves 4. So we're fine.
Yeah. You're like, we're fine. Everything is fine.
Everything is fine. Nothing to see here.
All right. Very good. Beth, go ahead and take it away on your journalism conversation, because I find this to be really interesting. So I'd love for you to fill us in, please.
Absolutely. Okay. So that was the whoops. Wait, how do I, Brian, can you pull it on stage? Can I?
Well, it says it is.
Show on stage? No. All right, here we go. Let's just do everybody's thing. Brian, pull the thing on stage because you did.
Well, there it goes. There it goes.
There we go. Okay, thank you. Yes. First day with the new StreamYard fingers. It's not actually, it's second day with the StreamYard fingers. So this is a screen grab from a post by Olivia Moore, and initially from Beerly AI. Newspaper published AI generated article but left in the chat requests. And so that's a little gotcha funny. But Olivia was saying, I previously worked for small town newspapers. This is exactly what AI should be doing. So much time spent, quote unquote, reporting on press releases, global or regional news, etc. But this frees up reporters to write about and even investigate more complex local stories, which is like a super interesting thing. So my hot topic segment is, where does the trust lie? If AI writes the easy news, because it totally can, do we trust the human written hard news? Do we trust the other stuff? Any thoughts? Because this could be one of the reasons that we're talking about this is because this could be a model that works for local newspapers, right? And in fact, it may actually already be happening in local newspapers to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like we're several years beyond Sports Illustrated becoming like pariah because they had AI generated sports stories, and that was like the big thing.
Yeah. How dare they?
And I'm not sure. I think we're beyond that, but I'm not sure we are in terms of the trust. So, do you trust AI written news? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I brought an example of kind of where my brain is going. My dad just sent me this. This is from 1990. That is me, and not the best, but whatever. Who cares? I don't have to apologize for what my hair looked like in the late 80s and 90s. My hair, I wore my hair down as a college scholarship athlete. Anyway, that was a different era. But the thing that I wanted to mention for real is this byline is Tim Cochran. What we lose, and I think what we lost already by having local news, vacuumed up into very few, news big multinational companies, is the connection between journalism and town life, right? And the reason why I use this example, it's very fresh in my mind because, like I said, my dad just sent them to me. Tim and I were friends. We became really good friends after that. We've been friends for life. I know that is like painfully quaint and sounds like Mayberry, but it's just an example of the connection between journalism and what's happening on the ground, and how those writers, they're a pillar of the community. I'm sure their jobs are completely different than they were in the 90s, but maybe I'm romanticizing the notion that, we still have journalists in our midst, and pitching them is not a, act of Congress, and getting somebody to your kid's T-ball championship is possible. I don't know. I would be sad if we lost that.
Hyperlocal. Really nice. This actually has a family connection for me too. My dad, I was born and raised on Martha's Vineyard. My father was a minister and then was a sports writer, because those are like right there in the path. But his theory of sports writing was not his. Lots of people said it before, but if you're writing for a local newspaper, you put as many names in as you possibly can, because people want to see people that they know, their names. Sure. And that was his approach to sports writing. This is the score of the game. Oh. This is the play that this person with this name did, and it was very good. It was just name.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look, I think this is the rise of the podcast. This is the rise of the citizen journalist. And so I don't know that this necessarily will make journalism go away. I mean, if I was running a paper, God knows right now, anything in print, I would have no choice but to look for all ways of efficiency for the business to float. AI is obviously going to be that. I mean, look, yes, there was a whoopsie in that particular thing, because I've seen it before where people are too quick and they leave would you like me to write about anything else, type thing. And it's not separate. OpenAI could do us a solid by putting some dashes in there and making that a different italicized font, so it would stand out more on the screen. But maybe it's mildly embarrassing. I honestly think we've all done this at this point before. I put the newsletter together every week. You guys know that. Andy does the editing. Andy has found things as the editor of the newspaper. Why do we have this 1-2 process? Because if I didn't have Andy, I'm the one putting it together, and I'm using AI all through it. Yes, I'm doing writing in there. Yes, I'm doing things. But let's be honest, we're able to put out a really good newsletter every single Sunday that I'm very proud of. We've done 80 of them at this point because of AI. And now it's very meta because it's AI about AI, but we still have that 1-2 step where Andy, who has a very technical, very, very detailed eye, and there's no way the newsletter would be as good as it is if it didn't pass over Andy's desk, quite literally. And so he's caught things that I've put in there, and I read the damn thing 10 times. I mean, you just don't, we know this with editing, you just don't catch your own stuff that you're doing or whatever. Or there'll be news stories in there that were already talked about above. And he's like, oh, I took that out because we already talked about it up top. We already had a whole segment on that. Geez, I don't know how I missed that, but so that's an error of efficiency for me. I quite literally would not choose to do the newsletter if I couldn't do it with AI and the efficiencies it brings. I do not think it actually diminishes the quality of the newsletter, at least for me. I think it actually enhances it. So this is what people are going to use. And if it allows more citizen journalists to be able to write more efficiently about here's everybody that got a point in the local game, and that's able to get out into the local, local Facebook groups. I'm probably in 5 or 6 different hyper local Facebook groups. One is for literally my neighborhood. One is the neighborhood of my neighborhood that's in a neighborhood. And then there's one for the whole city, right? And I find those extremely valuable. For me, Facebook groups are the reason I'm on Facebook still. They're extremely valuable for me. And so those are those hypo groups. And so if it enabled somebody who said, I like writing, Beth, your dad, maybe he didn't have the opportunity maybe to have it as a career, but he just enjoyed it. He enjoyed bringing those stories to people. He liked how it lit people up, and people said, hey, I really appreciate that story you wrote last week. I saw it on the whatever. I see this as a potential that maybe more people are able to write hyper localized news articles that a kid can say, my name is in the paper. That would not have existed had we not had the efficiencies of AI to help that person get there. And so there could be this whole, debate about, but doesn't it diminish? Doesn't everything become AI slop? Doesn't everything feel the same? And I go, yeah, but it would not have existed without that potentially, I guess. It would not have existed. So where's the value?
Yeah. So we got a great comment, but I want to hear from Andy, then we'll bring it up.
Well, I think I might be referencing that great comment, which is from Tori. Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to distinguish between sort of generally available news that's available to the AI writers as well, and more personal, localized, personal interest stories that are really what needs to be the focus to, generate enough overall speciality for a local newspaper as compared to all the different sources that we have access to on our smartphones. So I can get a local news feed that will kind of pick and select things that happen to be about this local area, and it's going to pull from Nextdoor and AOL's patch or whatever. But it'll be very interesting, much more interesting to me to have a human who's actually interacting with local people and creating a sense of community. And I think this is the heart of what Tori's comment is about. Is for local papers, all the aggregation of data that's possible using AI for generalized news and in national and international news, all of that, let that live in its own space. Local journalism ought to be about the people and the businesses in the locality.
Absolutely. And for people listening, I just want to read Tori's comment. Tori Begg on LinkedIn. As someone who runs AI for a marketing company that also owns local papers, we think about this a lot. The massive shift to AI and the digital overwhelm I am anticipating, we want to lean further into humans. People are going to have to want more for the human writing about humans. Yeah. Thanks, Tori.
Yeah, thank you, Tori. That's amazing. It's so nice when we have experts to jump into the comments. By the way, I also want to call out there, we talk all the time about, hey, join us on YouTube to be part of live chat. Well, Tori is also showing that you can do that on LinkedIn. We don't talk about LinkedIn as much, and that's not because we don't want to, because I'm on LinkedIn all the time as part of my job. It's that LinkedIn doesn't do a particularly good job of getting
The question is, Tori may have been able to put a comment into the feed, but is she seeing the other comments from other players there? No. So Tori, as you're listening, know that there's this limit on LinkedIn where we can see your comment, but all of the other people in the chat, and there's a big stream of chat, they can't, maybe they can see that, but you can't see their part of it. So you have to be on.
We're getting the combined feeds for us. Yeah. But if you're on the individual platforms, you're seeing the individual chats, and that, you know,
it's because I streamed it to my LinkedIn.
Oh,
so
great.
It went out to my people and then they come in. But if I'm not on YouTube and on LinkedIn separately, I can't comment. And some days I have more capacity to do 12 things at 7 a.m. than I do than other days. I haven't had enough coffee today from that level of multitasking. So
Tori said she sees one other, which that's well, Greg. So Greg jumped onto LinkedIn and said, "Hi, Tori." Thank you, Greg. See, Greg jumping in there and being the extra commenter on LinkedIn. Greg is a regular from the YouTube and has been for a long time. We appreciate you, Greg, as well as everybody else in the comments. There's been a great conversation as always going on there. Greg is certainly always willing to share his thoughts, and we read them all the time. So thank you, Greg, for doing that. And he's laughing about that now. Okay. Is your topic there, Beth? Anything else you want to say on this one, or?
So I would just say one thing that we didn't cover, but we have covered in the past is this an opportunity for AI companies that have billions of dollars in funding to do a solid and get really well written content by propping up some of these local things, right? I mean, this seems to be a win-win-win if the answer to the original question is, if AI writes the easy news, do we trust the human written hard news? And I hope that people for local content and AI readiness and AI awareness will eventually get to yes. And I think like the frontier companies could have a role in that. That would be really, really good. I don't know that that's going to happen, but I do see this as an opportunity, the ongoing opportunity of supporting actual human written content that you're looking for. Well-written content, people who are trained to write content in this kind of way. So,
and I'll just support what Tori said as far as like more stuff from humans, wanting to see more stuff from humans. And that goes beyond writing. I've talked about it a lot on the show. I know we have as well, that I think there's going to be a renaissance of human events that just simply defy the ability for it to be AI. This would be things like live art installations, live readings, live, where people are sitting in rooms listening to other people or watching other people do stuff, from plays to everything else. And I think this is yet another area where this will have I agree. I think it's going to have a renaissance. And in an era, we're there now, let's be honest, where every video, every image, every writing can be AI and impossible to detect. Let's just say, what are you left with? You're left with live experiences. You're live with that human to human connection. So I know there's a lot of people, rightfully so, that are worried that, this AI is only going to push the social isolation further than social media has in the last 20 years. And I say, yes, I see that. But I also think it might have a bump in the other direction, which is it actually pushes more people to have more human connections. And that's a great thing. So, I do think AI can play a positive role here, although I fully recognize that it could also add to the negative. It's the yin and the yang. So, all right. So let's wrap it up there for today. Thank you, as always, like I said, Anne, for joining us on Tuesday. We always appreciate the extra voice and bringing your audience to us. That's always appreciated. And tomorrow we'll be back. Jyunmi will be here as he typically is on Wednesdays. I think I'm out tomorrow. I was trying to get that right with Beth the other day. I think I'm out tomorrow and then Thursday next week, if I have that right. But come on back in and join us. We're still working on I know some of y'all were using the vertical feed. That's a new feature. They call it MARS. It's an acronym. That's StreamYard. And we're just trying to figure out what the process is, quite frankly. So it's a brand new feature for us to get organized correctly on our vertical feed. Yesterday, we didn't have it right. And we're honestly just trying to learn ourselves because it's a brand new rollout from StreamYard, which is the new old. It's the first one. It's also what we're just back to. So play along with us. We'll get it all sorted out. But this is a live show, and so you guys are along for the ride. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, you can join the community, as I mentioned, by going to the Daily AI Show community.com. We also have mentioned it, but the newsletter that goes out on Sundays, you can go to our website, thedailyAIshow.com, in order to sign up for that newsletter. It's free. It'll go out to you every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. And we also have Conundrum episodes that go out on Saturdays at 10 a.m. We actually got a really cool comment from that. And actually, I'll take 2 seconds and read it because as the group here knows, I will avoid negative comments like the plague. I'm not suited for them. I know this about myself. I cannot take negativity. I'm sure it's out there. I just don't want to know it. So now Spotify is messing with me because when I put the shows up on Spotify, it used to be that you had to go find the comments. You had to go to the comment section. Now Spotify's doing me a solid and throwing comments in my face right as I post them and making my life hard because I don't know if they're going to be positive or not. But this one was. And this one actually was about our last Conundrum episode. If you haven't listened to our Conundrum episodes, the first part is me live, meaning I'm just talking to you. But the rest of it is an AI-generated debate. It's a conversation going through Notebook LM, and we use a whole bunch of other processes for it. I've always found it fun and interesting to do, and they've been successful on Spotify, so we keep doing them. And this was a comment we got from Barney Lurton. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is from the Messy Middle Conundrum that came out the other day. This was a fascinating, evocative, and truly rewarding, even if it was artificially generated conversation about the pros, cons, and trade-offs and where we will find ourselves. How do you artificially create or maintain the struggle that we perhaps in a confused fashion mistake for or depend upon as actual expertise? So I want to thank Barney for taking the time and leaving us that comment on Spotify. Thank you for being a positive comment and not throwing a negative in front of it and ruining let's not be honest, it'd ruin the rest of my year. I'm way too sensitive. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I'm not built for it, but thank you, Barney, for and letting us know what you think about this particular Conundrum episode. So they go out on Saturdays. Okay, that's it for today. Have a great day, and we will see y'all again tomorrow for the rest of the week.
Bye, everybody.